Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we got a special video. I've taken a little bit of time to, well, actually a lot of time because of quarantine, to study fantasy football. I know it's really early in the year and this whole list is subject to change, but I feel really good about the list I've put together here. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's just get right into it. We'll also be looking at ADPs, just to show where guys are being drafted as of right now. And then we're going to look at wide receiver strength of schedule as well. And then if we need to look anything up on Roto World, I have it right here. So let's just get right into it. The first wide receiver we got, and I genuinely don't even think it's close. Based on floor, based on ceiling, based on what he did last year, I don't even think it's close. I think Michael Thomas is the number one wide receiver this year. I want you to look at one specific stat here. Now, he had a great season, obviously. He played all 16 games. He had 9 touchdowns. He almost had 1,800 yards. I get all of that. I want everybody to look at one specific stat and compare his receptions to everybody else's. Everyone else's. Just compare them. It's not even comparable. This guy, if in a PPR league, this guy gave you $150 off of catching the football alone. That's crazy. That is insane. This looks like a target number. 149, that looks like a target number, not a reception number. I was shocked when I started doing more research and I looked at how many footballs this guy caught last year. He's 6'3", he's lengthy. He's still got Drew Brees thrown to him. He's still got Alvin Kamara in the backfield. I understand Emmanuel Sanders might chip into that target total a little bit. But my God, let's say he catches 10 less footballs, 20 less footballs. The guy's still catching 120 footballs. I mean, geez. So the floor is impeccable. And the floor is impeccable because he's still going to catch 120 footballs. Now, obviously, injury for any of these guys, but I mean, I think this is the easy go-to number one wide receiver. He's the only wide receiver I would consider picking over one of the big four backs, which we'll get into in a different video. Not to mention, he's got the fourth easiest schedule for wide receivers. His current ADP is right around that 6.3 mark. So, he's right around that 6 spot. I think you're crazy to take Henry over him. The only guys I would take over Michael Thomas as of right now, and this is all subject to change, as I said, is Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Alvin Kamara, who is not on this list for some reason. Here he is at 10? What the fuck is this? Damn. People are sleeping on Alvin Kamara this year, man. Anyways, let's move back on into our second receiver. And for me, receivers 2 to 5 are all really close. So I just went on floor, basically, and I decided who's the safest pick. Because what you want early in rounds in a fantasy draft is safe picks. You don't want to have that bust guy. You don't want to have that James Conner from last year who completely busted. You don't want to have that Odell Beckham Jr. from last year who completely busted, because that can shit on your whole draft. You could have a good draft in the middle rounds, but if you fuck up in the first 2 rounds, you're done. You're done. So, at number 2, I got Devontae Adams. Now, like I said, look at the reception total. I know he only played 12 games, but my God, dude. And this guy, for 12 football games, he hauled in a lot of receptions. That touchdown total is going to skyrocket this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he caught 12 touchdowns. That wouldn't shock me. I'm dead serious. If he plays the whole year, I wouldn't be surprised if he caught 12 touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, and I might be, yeah, they have the second easiest schedule, man, for wide receivers. So he doesn't have to go up against any great DPs or DBs. The targets are going to be there. He's still got Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. Their wide receiver 2 is like Alan Lazard or something. So nobody's going to chip into the target total. They don't even have a tight end on the roster, I don't think. And if they do, it's like a fucking rookie. some guy we've never heard of. So I think Devontae Adams eats this year. Like, eats, consumes. I wouldn't be surprised if he was wide receiver 1. I mean, I think any of these top 5 guys could end up being wide receiver 1. I don't want to stick onto this guy for too long, so let's keep moving. After we look at his ADP, which is right around that 9 mark. So, I don't know about that, man. I mean, I would take him over Mixon, I think. I don't know. Anyways, as I said, a lot of this is subject to change. I've only done about a week of research. So, as I do more and more research, this is all going to change. At 3, I got Tyreek Hill, who also played 12 games. Now, I know some people are thinking Tyreek over Julio, and you're basing it off of floor. Here's the thing. You have to understand the training camps this year aren't the same as what they usually are. So I'm really valuing guys who are in an offense that they've been in for a long time, and they've produced recently, right? So Julio is very close to Tyreek Hill. I just think Tyreek Hill has that league-winning upside that Julio might be lacking at this point in his career. That's just my opinion, and the reason I'm saying that is not because Julio's bad, but because that offense, or the Chiefs' offense, is just incredible. It's gonna blow up. So I think this touchdown total goes up a little bit. Receptions go up a little bit considering he plays all 16 games. I wouldn't be surprised. He's not a guy who's going to catch 120 footballs, but he is going to get those bombs that you need. You know what I mean? He can win you a fantasy year. That's the way I look at it. So his ADP 12.2. I'd pick him over Hopkins personally. I'd pick him over Jacobs easily. I'd pick him over Kenyon Drake easily. I'd pick him over Mixon easily. I would pick him over Henry. That's just my opinion. I mean, look at that yard per catch, man. 14.8. That's hefty. Looking at the strength of schedule, it's not the most favorable, but it doesn't really matter. That Chiefs offense is so explosive. They've got Andy Reid. They've got Pat Mahomes. They've got Mecole Hardman. They've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They've got Damian Williams still. That offense is explosive. The O-line is solid. I mean, wow. So I think getting the head piece in that offense is a big deal, and I like Tyreek Hill to be that guy. Moving on to 4. We've got Julio Jones, my favorite wide receiver, easily. It's not even close. This guy's an absolute monster. Played 15 games last year, caught 99 footballs, almost 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 14 yards per catch. That's pretty hefty as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the touchdowns float around the same area, 6 to 7, maybe 8. I think he's going to kill it in receptions and yards, though. So that's why I really like him over a DeAndre Hopkins. Because I think he's in the same offense. It's just a little... It's not that Hopkins couldn't blow up. Don't get me wrong. I mean, dude, the Cardinals' offense could completely explode this year, and Hopkins could finish the number 1 receiver. It's entirely possible. Like I said, any of these top 5 guys could finish wide receiver 1, in my opinion. They're really the only guys I would bet money on finishing wide receiver 1. But I just think it's safer taking the guy who's been in the same offense. He's been under Dirk Cutter for a few years, even though Cutter isn't fantastic. He's not the guy in San Francisco that they used to have, Shanahan. But I don't know, man. I just think like I said, in the early rounds, you want to stay safe, and Julio Jones is always a safe pick. Let's see where they are here. I'm looking for the Falcons, boys. Give me a second. Yeah, 9th, man. So it's not even a... They've got a pretty easy wide receiver schedule, too. And he's gonna eat. His ADP right now... 12.7. That's right around where I would take him. Maybe a little higher. I value receivers a little bit more than other people do, personally. Because I think having that one, if you can get one of those elite 5 guys, it could win you your fantasy league, possibly. You have to understand, like, you can only do so much research and be so prepared. Like, some of this is luck, guys. Some of this is avoiding injuries, avoiding them getting coronavirus, you know what I mean? Avoiding all that shit, you know, and then some of it's just the right things falling into place. Some of this is luck. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's a specific way to do all of this, because I'd be lying to you. Moving on, we got our last elite, oh shit, my bad. Possible league-winning wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. Now, take these stats lightly because it's a completely different football team he's on. 104 receptions, almost 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 11 yards per catch, and 15 games played. He always plays, guys. This guy always plays. So he is a safe pick in that regard. And like I said, he has league upside to possibly explode for you. It's just, I don't know if I can take him over the likes of those other guys because they're in the same offense. I just feel as though those guys are safer, personally. Even though I am very high on DeAndre Hopkins, and like I said, he could win you your fantasy league. ADP right now, 11.4. Him and Julio's a toss-up. Like I said, even Tyreek Hill's a toss-up. My 2 guys I would take is, I really like Michael Thomas and I really like Devontae Adams. Those are my 2 favorite receivers this year. So if you're basing on, if you want to know what I personally think, I think those 2 are extremely elite just because of the targets they're going to see, right? Now, the Hopkins is going to see a good amount of targets too. They're going to throw the football down the field. That's what they're trying to do under Cliff Kingsbury. They want to do that. That's part of why they got him. They still have Christian Kirk. They still have Larry Fitzgerald. So you can't double team him either. But new offense, very little time to throw with Kyler. I know that they got a little bit of a workout in before quarantine, but a 2-week workout isn't going to do much for me. I mean, the chem isn't quite there yet. So I know that Hopkins, he's proven he can do it with almost any quarterback. That's one thing I will say about him. But I think that the other guys are safer. So if you're picking in the early rounds and you're close between Hopkins and Julio, in my opinion, I would just go Julio. That's just my opinion. Just because he's safer, not because Hopkins sucks or because Hopkins isn't going to finish top 3. Hopkins could finish number 1. Like I said, any of these guys in the top 5 could finish number 1. I keep repeating that, but it's a fact. Let's see where Arizona is here. Yeah, Arizona's at number 9, right there, tied with the Rams and the Falcons. So they've got an easy schedule, man. And wow, he's got a really easy fantasy playoff schedule too. So if you think you're going to make it far, maybe this is a guy you trade for in the middle of the year. I don't know. Anyways, let's move on, boys. Number 6, we got Chris Godwin. Now, this isn't, like I said, I don't think any of these guys are going to finish wide receiver number 1 just because there's so many weapons in that offense, and I don't know. There's not much he can do to compete with what he did last year, like 15.5 yards per catch. That's going to go down with Brady. He's not going to heave the ball down the field the whole year. I know that they want to do that 2 tight end set, and which means Godwin would play on the outside a little bit more, but he's still going to get slot time. Don't be worried about that. He's still going to be that reliable guy in the middle of the field for Tom Brady, like we've seen. Tom Brady likes to check down and throw to guys in the middle of the field, and Godwin is that guy this year for me. That's why I would take him well over Evans, personally. 86 receptions, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns in only 14 games, guys. He only played 14 games. So that touchdown total, I think, hovers around the same area. I wouldn't be surprised if receptions go down a little bit, and if yards go down just a little bit. But that touchdown total alone is very valuable, and he's still got Tom Brady throwing to him. They don't have much of a run game. They want to throw the football. It's what they're going to do. I'm of the mindset they should still go get Devonta Freeman because he's a really good pass catching back, and that's what they need. So I don't think Keyshawn Vaughn is the answer. So I personally would go get Devonta Freeman, and then I think that's a really scary offense at that point. Anyways, guys, moving on to number 7, and before we do this, let's look at Godwin's ADP, which is 17.2, and Tampa Bay is at 12 here, so right in the middle of the pack. He does have a very easy fantasy playoff schedule, though. And so do the Chiefs, man. Look at that. 76.89. Wow. I'm all over that, man. I'm all over Tyreek Hill this year. Anyways. Moving on to number 7. This is probably my sleeper of the year. As of 1 week of doing research. This is my personal sleeper of the year. You've got DJ Moore. Caught 87 footballs, almost 1,200 yards on 4 touchdowns, 13.5 yards per catch in 15 games. Now, offense, this is all with a shitty quarterback, by the way. Let me explain why I think DJ Moore is going to finish a top 7 wide receiver. It's not because they're going to be elite as a team. It's actually quite the opposite. They're going to be shit. The Panthers are not going to be good. They're going to be throwing the football a lot because they're going to be down. Now, I know that that's really easy to understand, but the more complex part to it is, since they're down, obviously they'll throw the football more. I know McCaffrey's going to get a lot of check down work. I wouldn't be surprised if the touchdowns stay the same, around the same area, but I think we can say he's got a better quarterback. Matt Rule said he wants to throw the football downfield. I wouldn't be surprised if receptions go up and yards. I think touchdowns float around the same area, but receptions and yards are definitely, I think they skyrocket. I do. I mean, I think that they're going to throw this guy the ball a lot, and I'm really liking him because his ADP is all the way down here, man. He's at, let's see where he is. Did I pass him? I probably passed him. Nope, I didn't pass him. DJ Moore, right here at 37.9, according to fantasy data. Now, that is, what is that? Almost the 5th round? I mean, wow. You can get him in the late 4th round, man. I'm all over that. And, the guys you have to decide between. This is basically what decision making comes down to for you in fantasy football. You have to decide between, the Allen Robinsons, the DJ Moores, the Calvin Ridleys, the Robert Woods, because you can't get all of them in that area. So you have to decide which of that tier of receivers you want to target. For me, it's DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley. Those are the two that I'm targeting more so. So I think DJ Moore gets a lot of garbage time work, almost like the Jaguars in 2015 with Allen Robinson and Blake Bortles and shit and Allen Hurns. I think you see a big fantasy year from DJ Moore just because of garbage time. That's what I'm trying to say. Moving on. I also think he's very talented. And not to mention, he's got the 3rd easiest schedule. So, I mean, that's huge. Moving on. My bad. At 8, I got Amari Cooper. He's right in that DJ Moore tier for me. 79 receptions, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 15.1 yards per catch, which is extremely high. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes down a little bit. 16 games played. Now, they're gonna run the ball. I think this team last year finishes number 1 in total offense. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if receptions go up a little bit, and touchdowns go down a little bit just because Zeke is going to be the goal line back. I get all that. He's gonna vulture a good amount of touchdowns from Cooper, but Cooper is so good at route running, man. He can't. There's times where he drops the football and you're like, why did he drop that? But he is incredible at running routes. So I like Amari Cooper a lot, especially with the addition of CeeDee Lamb. You can't, and they still have damn it, what is his name? They still have Michael Gallup. So I like him to not be doubled whatsoever. I think Dak is solid enough to get him the football. The O-line is still decent. You've got Zeke, of course. I think that, dare I say, the Cowboys are going to have a good season. Shit. I do think the Cowboys are going to have a really good season. Here we've got Amari Cooper at 34.3. So he's in that Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster area. As I said, you have to pick. These are the decisions you have to make, man. You have to pick between Odell and Amari Cooper. You have to pick between Juju Smith-Schuster and Amari Cooper. And for me, I'm choosing Amari Cooper over those guys. I think he's way safer than Odell. I think he's way safer than Juju. The Steelers could be a shit team. Who knows? Big Ben could go down week 2. You never know, man. There's only one football, and there's a lot of options in Cleveland, and they want to run the football to begin with. So where here they want to do more of a balanced thing. They want to pass the ball a good amount too. So I think Amari Cooper is going to have a great season, as long as he stays healthy, which he played 16 games last year, so hopefully he will. Let's see where the Cowboys are here. They're 5th on the strength of schedule. So they've got a really easy schedule for Amari as well. I'm all over Amari Cooper. I think if you can get him in the middle of the third in a 12-team league, that's really solid. I think that's right around where he was going last year, and I think that he has league-winning upside. He could, I think the Cowboys they could really do some stuff this year, man. So you have to remember, sometimes you have to target the teams. You have to target teams that are going to do stuff, and then get the number one wide receiver on that team. You know what I mean? So I'm taking Amari Cooper in a lot of my leagues. I know that. Moving on. Number 9, Adam Thielen. Now, only played 10 games, had 30 receptions, 418 yards, 6 touchdowns, 14 yards per catch. I think Adam Thielen is very primed to have a bounce-back season. The departure of Stephon Diggs opens up a lot of target share for him. So I think he's the clear-cut number 1. I know Justin Jefferson's out there. You can argue a few other guys, but he's the clear-cut number 1. He likes to. He can play on the outside. He can play in the slot. I like Thielen for what he is. This is his 3rd year with Cousins. They've got Dalvin Cook. They want to run the football, but who knows if Cook stays healthy. If Cook goes down, maybe they start throwing it a little bit more. You never know, man. So I'm all over Adam Thielen this year. I think he's a possible league winner because he's getting drafted in that. Let's see where he's at. He should be up here. He's getting drafted in that. He's at 28.5, getting drafted in that Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster area. So I like him over those guys, personally. Yeah, moving on. Let's look at the strength of schedule for Thielen. He's right there at 12. So you'll notice a trend. A lot of these guys I have do have an easy, on my list, do have an easy strength of schedule. It's not like I'm only going off of that, but it is a big part of what I look at. So, really, you're not going to see anybody down here on my list for the most part. Devontae, really? Like, he's got the hardest schedule by a mile. Do you see that? Hardest schedule by a mile. He's the only dude in the 18s. And he's got a rookie quarterback. But we'll get into more fantasy stuff as the season progresses. At 10, I got Mike Evans. I'd be remiss if I didn't put him on the list because they've got that top 10 easy schedule, right? Or top 12, I should say. And there's, like I said, there's only one football, and I understand that Brady doesn't want to throw it down the field as much. He wants to play a little bit more possession game. But I think Evans is going to get his, especially in the red zone. I wouldn't be surprised if he has double-digit touchdowns this year on 80 catches for 1,200 yards. That wouldn't shock me. Look at that hefty yards per catch. Obviously, that'll go down, but that just shows you what this offense is trying to do. 17.3 yards per catch. That's insane. Now, with Brady, that's going to go down, of course. But look at these stats he had, man, and he only played 13 football games. So I like Mike Evans. At 23.9, he's right in that Galladay Thielen Godwin tier. I gave you my reasoning for Godwin over Evans, but I think Evans, he could realistically finish the number one receiver in Tampa. It's not like it can't happen. I just think that it's more likely for Godwin to. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, please consider subscribing and turning on post notifications. I'm going to be producing a lot of different videos. I know I recorded a Star Wars ranking video. I'll be releasing that soon. I'm going to be producing a lot of fantasy football videos, though. So if you guys are ready for that, please stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.